Now, here's some new things you're going to learn. You learned them in actually grade 11 math, so it's just going to be using them again in grade 12. These are called special triangles, special. So you just have to get to memorize them. So this is the 45, which is 1 root 2. Okay, and if we're doing the cos, it's going to be 1 over root 2 because it's the adjacent over the hypotenuse. The sine is the same because the opposite is the same as the adjacent. And tan is 1 over 1, which is just 1. Now, we're going to determine the exact. Okay, that word exact, that means you're using the special, those special triangles, okay? So that's the first thing that your brain has to be thinking. Okay, exact means special, those special triangles. All right, so I would strongly recommend that you just get to memorizing them and write them down every single time. So I'll just draw the 45 now because that's the one we're using. 1 root 2 is the 45, okay? So once you draw it out a few times, it's no problem. Okay, so now, the first thing we got to do is we need to draw this out. We need to find where it's going to be. Okay, so let's just do first step. Okay, and this is going to be basically the steps you're going to follow for quite a few problems. You want to draw. Okay. Okay, so let's just draw a picture. All right, so we got that. So let's just get a different color now. And let's go to, okay, where is 225? Well, it's 180, about there, okay? Second step. All right, so the second step is you want to find the reference angle. Okay, and I'll call it the RA, the reference angle. Okay, well, what is that angle right there? Well, we know it from this, the exercise we did before. This is 225, that's 180, so we subtract, and we get 45. Okay, and remember, if you're not getting the 45 or the 30 or the 60, something's wrong because it says exact value. So those are the ones we should be getting. Okay, the third thing you should be doing in your thought process is label. We've got to label that triangle. So label the triangle. So let's make it into a triangle. So let's just get a different color here. Okay, so there is my triangle. All right, so 1 root 2. Okay, so now we got the picture. Now the fourth thing you want to do is just answer the question. Okay, so now it's time to answer. Okay, so answer. So what's the answer? Well, we're trying to find cos, okay? Well, remember cos to be A over H, right? Well, which one's the A? Well, it's 1. And which one's the H? It's root 2. All right, now, so if we're doing the cos, and we got that, before we say final answer, always check the cast rule. Very, very important. So add sugar 2. Well, I'm in the tan quadrant. And this is a cos question, so make sure you put a negative there. Okay, and let's just do the second part. Now we're doing this guy. Sine. Well, sine is, oh, over h, which is 1 over root 2, and it also is negative because we're in the tan quadrant. All right, so now if you look at this question, you're probably thinking, what's going on with this little 2 here? All right, well that 2 is just going to come up and plant itself there. So we want to rewrite it as cos 225 and then you want to square it at the end. Okay, so we just did this in the previous slide, and let's just quickly go through it. Okay, we know we're down here, right? And we know this is 45 because we just finished doing it. And we know that's 1, that's root 2 because we got that memorized now. And we know cos is a over h, so it's 1 over root 2. And we know it's negative because it's in the tan quadrant. Now, the only thing you have to do now is bring the square in and square it. So negative 1 times negative 1 is 1. And root 2 times root 2 is just 2. And there's our answer. And the sin one would be the same. Okay, the other ones you're going to get to really know is the 30 and the 60, because those are the other two exact ones you're going to be using. And make sure you know their reciprocals. So let's just go quickly over reciprocals. Okay, so if I was given that theta, well, I'll make theta right here. Okay, forgot to put that in. Now, why did I not put it up here? Because I know that that would be 30, because 30 is always opposite 1. Okay, 30 is always opposite 1. Because 30 is the smallest angle, 1 is the smallest side. So I knew to put it there. Okay, now we can figure out the opposite. Well, the opposite is root 3. Okay, over 2. And if I did the cosecant, it just flips as 2 over root 3. And so on. You get the picture. Okay, so let's just determine these two. Okay, so let's do cos 120. Same steps as the previous one. We want to draw a picture. Always draw a picture. Okay, so let's find where 120 is. 120 is about here. And that angle, reference angle, is going to be 60 because 180 take away that. Make it into a nice triangle here. Okay. Now we can label 1, 2, root 3. Okay, remember 1 gets the 30 and 60 gets the root 3. Okay, now we got the picture developed. Now we need to write what cos is. Well, cos we know. Cos is a over h. All right, and we know the a from our picture above. Our a is 1 and our h is 2. Okay, now the last thing is check your cast rule to make sure you're getting your positive negatives correct. So this is add sugar to coffee, or all students take calculus. Well, we're in the S quadrant, okay? Well, this is not an S question, this is a cos question. So don't forget to put your negative sign. All right, now the other one, okay, let's draw our picture. Okay, let's find the angle. 240 is somewhere down here. Okay, find that reference angle. 240 backs up to 180. So now we have 60 again. Okay, make it into our nice triangle. label it 1, 2, root 3. Cosecant is h over o. Okay, I forgot to mention this, remember, gets pulled out and you do it at the end. Okay. Now we have h is 2. O is root 3. Check the add sugar to coffee. We're in the tan quadrant, so it's a negative. Now we bring in the square. And then we get the answer. Negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4, and root 3 times root 3 is 3. Okay, I'll just give you a little thing is, when I mark tests, a lot of people put the negative sign at the very end in the answer. You put it in this step here, and then square it, or whatever you have to do. So don't do it out of order. Okay, and there's some questions that you can try. Okay, you can pause it and I can go through the answers. There's the answer for A, and now B would be I always write down this ratio because it just helps me embed it. I know secant is the flip of cos, and I write the h over a because it helps me a lot. And it's positive, and now it's squared. Okay, now part E. Okay, we're just going to go through some of these exact ratios, and again, pictures will help us. I'll just do a couple and then you get the idea. So sin 120, so there's 120, and we know that angle is going to be 60. Okay, and I know my triangles, I memorized it and I've done it a million times. That's going to be that. And we're doing sine, which is opposite, which is root 3 over 2. And remember to check your cast rule always. Your cast rule says add sugar, you're in the positive quadrant, so you're good. Now if I was doing the cosecant of 120, I would just flip this, because cosecant is the flip of sine. So I go 2 over root 3. Okay, and you'll notice that these ones will be negatives because you're still in quadrant 2, and quadrant 2 is a sine quadrant.